Sailor Uranus Amara, and I'm Sailor Neptune Michelle. And today we're going to talk about, well, let's see. How about we talk about how we've been, how we've been talking about how I've been working with, I don't know, you know, Jellycam or Jelly Combo, what do you want to call it? Now, for some of you folks out there who still may not know, we've been making we've been making films, well, probably since March, with a tool known as Jelly Combo. Well, actually, it's not its true name, but that's what they call it. And yeah, well, we already talked about that, you know. So, some folks, oh, here's something to talk about. What if Deke had gotten the rights to work with the third and fourth followings of Sailor Moon and not just the first and the next ones? You know, what if they got a deal to keep on going with Sailor Moon and it never went to Pioneer? And some folks are going to have a fight and they're going to say, well, was Clover Way? Well, at the end, thanks to Sailor Moon Super and Super S, Over S, anyway, you know, it would say Pioneer, so that's the ones that did it, so it is what it is. So, well, I don't know. That's not even the grounds for a good film. Alright, who actually did do Sailor Moon suit? Yeah. Okay, so what if that did happen and Deke did get the rights to work with the third and the four followings? Well, first off, I believe that the songs would have that a lot of the songs would have kept the same. I also believe that we would have still gotten Sailor Says. They would have found some way to make that still had seeked that of being a following of Sailor and Sailor, of S and over S. And yes, I'm sure the names that were picked would have been the same names being picked, but but that didn't happen. You know, how would they have handled us and our love choose or love pick? I don't know. Yeah. Well, you're right about that, Sarah Uranus. You're right about that, Amara. No one really knows how Deke would have gone by handling that. They would have had to have done something to make it more right for folks to like it. Because even in 2000, it was still saw as a thing you can't show on the Farsi or in films, at least, as kids went back in the day. Um, so, and what would they have also done as far as the show playing goes? Or the speaking, or the talking show playing, I guess you call it, or just show playing? I guess some of the same ones that did it for the first two would have been doing it for the others. There may have been some new folks, I don't know. Would they have been doing a lot of cleaning? I'm going to say yes, there would have been a lot of things in the third and fourth that would have still had to be cleaned up by Deke if Deke had gotten the rights to do it. And as far as the closing goes, I think it would have been the same closing through the first two with the same song. So at the end of the day, I don't really know how Deke would have gone by handling Sailor Moon over S and over S. But it would have been something that a lot of folks would have been something to talk about. Yeah, you're right about that, Sailor Neptune. You're right about that, Michelle. Um, I think at the end of the day, it's hard to say how Deke would have gone by doing Sailor Moon Super S and Sailor Moon Super. Well, actually, Super before Super S, so it'd be over before Over S, right? So it would be hard to say how they would have gone by handling it if they would have gotten the right to keep on going with it. But if you look at the films that came out, the three Sailor Moon films, Promise of the Rose or Oath of the Rose, and the Over S films, and those are done by Pioneer too, so that gives you a kind of a thought of how Deke would have done Sailor Moon over and over as if they would have gotten the rights to do it, and it didn't fall into Pioneer, and Pioneer didn't get the right to start working with it back then. And I'm sure there would have been folks bitching about that. Yep, the haters would have been out for that one too. By that point, some of the haters, or I guess you can't really call them haters. You can probably call them unlikers, I guess. But haters are anyone that hates something, so they would have been already bitching about it. And by then, someone would have had the home reckoner with some kind of interweb or whatever, and they would already looked up. They would already been. They would have saw the written take of Sailor Moon, so they would have been bitching about all the cleaning that was going on to the third and fourth followings. But it's hard to say how it would have been handled, how Deke would have gone by handling it, since they never did. Would they have given us new borrowed names? Would I have been Amara when she'd been Michelle, or would it have been new ones? How would they have gone? Well, and would strike names and hit names and instead names be shifted around again? I would think yes, they probably would be they would be shifted again. And like I said, Sailor Says would have also stayed on as a ongoing thing. Well, that's really, and there isn't really any more we can talk about. Uranus. You know, There isn't really much anymore we can talk about. I mean, that we pretty much just talked about this whole thing, and it is what it is. But at the end of the day, it's more of a what if, since in this world, not in some other world where it did happen, but in this world, we do know that Deke lost the rights around 1998 after they ended the first two followings, and it went to Cloverway, and Cloverway, started handling all the things after that. So it would have been fun to see how Deke would have gone by working with the other followings of Sailor Moon. You're right about that, Neptune. You're right about that, Shell. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. Alright? I'm Sarah Uranus. I'm Sailor Neptune. Hope you like this film.